Tonight, we humbly submit the Rachel Maddow Show's official nomination for Great Moments in Photoshop Fail. Okay, you're looking at an ad by clothing designer Ralph Lauren. Now, feast your eyes on this picture just for a moment. At first glance, you're thinking, oh, of course, a creepily skinny model advertising a very expensive pseudo-bohemian-looking outfit. But wait, she sort of looks like she was shrinky-dinked, doesn't she? Look at the ratio of her torso to her head. That is not a ratio that exists in nature, at least outside the insect world. Here's another picture of the same model. Her name is Philippa Hamilton. Now, in this picture, she looks very, very skinny on this magazine cover, right? But still, she essentially looks like a human. Unlike in the Ralph Lauren ad, where it looks like whoever was in charge of the retouching was inspired by some combination of Barbie and those giant-headed Bratz dolls. Actually, both of those dolls look more normal and more human than the model. Here's what I would look like if you did the same thing to my picture as Ralph Lauren did to Philippa Hamilton's. Here's what President Obama would look like. Ah! And here's what Angelina Jolie would look like. Yeah. Now, we were able to spend our Friday afternoon making fun of Ralph Lauren and playing with Photoshop because the Rachel Maddow Show staff's favorite blog, boingboing.net, was the blog that recently called bullpucky on this shrinky-dink disaster with a post titled, Ralph Lauren opens new outlet store in the uncanny valley. The Boing Boing blogger who spotted this ad, Jenny Jardin, simply noted, quote, dude, her head's bigger than her pelvis, which indeed it is. But then weirdly, in response to that very brief blog entry about a ridiculously altered image in an ad, the Ralph Lauren company responded, or at least their lawyers did, with a letter full of legalistic bombast, accusing Boing Boing of copyright infringement for reposting the image of the model and demanding that they remove it from their website. Do you want to guess how the folks at Boing Boing responded to that bombast? Well, joining us now to fill us in on what has happened in this drama since the angry lawyer letter is Jenny Jardin. She's editor and partner at boingboing.net and author of the original Dude, Her Head's Bigger Than Her Pelvis blog post. Jenny, thanks very much for being on the show tonight.
My pleasure, Rachel.
Okay, so Ralph Lauren's legal eagles come after you. What's your response?
To mock them and to offer their thin models nourishing soup and sandwiches. What else?
You did literally tell them that if they kept bullying you, you would keep mocking them and you would send food to their people.
We did. You know, we also asked our readers to help us get to the bottom of whether this ad was retouched just by Ralph Lauren's artist or if maybe this was the work of an internet prankster. And then the very day after that, Ralph Lauren's attorneys or PR people finally fessed up and said, effectively, we are responsible for this ad.
Well, what they said was, and it was striking because there was no real apology. They said, after further investigation, we've learned that we are responsible for the poor imaging and retouching that resulted in a very distorted image of a woman's body. We've addressed the problem, and going forward, we'll take any precaution to ensure that the caliber of our artwork represents our brand appropriately. But there was no apologizing to you for trying to legally intimidate you, but they're admitting they were right about the head-to-pelvis problem.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the law in question here, DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, basically it's something that can be misused by companies to silence free speech. Basically, they came after us and said, we claim copyright over this ad. Our lawyers helped us understand that that was bogus and that this was classic fair use. If you are criticizing or parodying something, you have a right to do that. Because our internet service provider was in Canada, they don't have to abide by the DMCA. We didn't have to take it down. The blog that we originally found this on, Photoshop Disasters, they're a Blogspot blog, so that's Google, and it came down instantly, as it would with like YouTube or something.
And so, I mean, that's the deeper part of this story. I mean, there's the body image, photoshopping, shrinky-dink side of it, but the other side of it is intimidation, because it does seem to be a plain fair use claim. But you say that because of the DMCA, what's happening is that ISPs just immediately cave whenever they're confronted by anything like this, and it sort of hurts the First Amendment.
First, they came for the supermodels, and I didn't care because I wasn't a supermodel. No, seriously. I mean, imagine if somebody recorded, say, a political video, or there was a document, a whistleblower document that was scanned and posted online on a Blogspot blog. So the way that many of these free hosting services would react is to immediately take it down, no questions asked. Well, in this case, we had the luxury of asking questions and fighting it with help from chillingeffects.org and our great lawyers at MS&K, but not everybody has those kinds kinds of weapons in their arsenal.
Would you encourage other ISPs, other people who host blogs that have faced threatening letters like this, even when they seem to be bogus, based on bogus legal claims, would you encourage them to fight them?
You know, I would. I would also encourage people to consider, hosting your blog offshore if you're planning on getting into controversial material. This is a funny story because we're talking about a silly-looking model in a denim jeans ad. But what if we were talking about something that mattered more? The internet isn't automatically a safe haven for free speech.
And there is something sort of serious about an already really skinny model made to look like an alien in order to be small enough to fit into a magazine. But you're right, the free speech issues are bigger. Jenny Jardin.
Guys,
go ahead.
The offer for soup and sandwiches still stands.
That's exactly right. And we'll double down and throw in cookies. Jenny Jardin is editor and partner at boingboing.net. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Rachel.